Okay, I just want to welcome everybody who's joining us from the waiting room, and I'm going to briefly introduce myself while some folks trickle in, but I just want to thank everybody for joining us for this webinar. We're going to be talking about spring semester 2022 study abroad options at Tel Aviv University. My name is Jenna. I am the outreach coordinator in our US office for Tel Aviv University International, and I'm joined today by Jennifer Gotliv, who is the director of study abroad. She sits on campus, and I will give Jennifer just a second to introduce herself, but quickly, just a quick outline of what's going to happen. I will let Jennifer introduce herself really quickly, and then I'm going to give a brief presentation just about the subject matter, about study abroad, and then we're going to leave time for you guys to ask questions. So you'll be able to use the chat function for that. And Jennifer has graciously offered to join us so late in the evening so that we can get some important questions answered for you. So Jennifer, I don't know if you have anything you want to say hello really quickly before I jump into it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jenna. So like Jenna said, my name is Jennifer. I'm the study abroad director, and I am based in Tel Aviv in our Tel Aviv office. And basically our entire office is there to serve the needs of the study abroad and the exchange students. So I'm hoping that by being on this webinar, I can answer all your questions about housing, about arrivals, about Corona, life on campus during Corona, which I think is a really big question that people are asking nowadays. So essentially, this is why I'm here. So I look forward to answering some of your questions and getting to know you guys.
Great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thanks for being here. So everybody, I'm just going to give you a little bit of context for what Tel Aviv University International is inside of the university itself. Essentially, I like to describe it to folks I meet as the mechanism within Tel Aviv University that oversees and manages all of the programming available to international students that's instructed in English. So that includes everything you see at the bottom of your screen listed there. Obviously today we're talking about study abroad. We also offer full degree programs at the graduate and undergraduate levels. We have summer programs that some of you may be interested in at some point. Everything through the entire academic journey. And just so you have a sense of what that means, the university itself is a really big place. In a typical year, we have about 30,000 students total on campus, only about a couple thousand of which are international students. So that means that you're getting kind of the best of both worlds, and we'll explain that to you. But we have students joining us on campus from over 100 countries. They're participating in programs, research, studying in 125 schools and departments across 9 faculties. Our university is home to a lot of innovation and lots of entrepreneurship and things like that going on. So we're excited to present some of the options for study abroad students within that context. So in spring 2022 coming up, like I said, we're accepting applications currently. I want to make a note for you guys that the programs I'm describing today, that we're talking about today, the application deadline is October 31st. So the end of this month is the last day to apply, and you'll have to confirm if you're accepted by November 5th. So we are kind of at the end of our application cycle, but we're hoping that if you haven't had a chance to apply yet, that you'll consider it now and talk to us if you have questions about it. But you can see some of the application requirements there. You can see the spring semester dates will run from January through May. And what that means, what's happening from January through May, is that you're taking as a semester abroad student, as a study abroad student, a full-time course load, which is 4 courses. It's about 12 credits. It is exactly 12 credits. But that experience begins with a mandatory Hebrew language program. So those 4 courses that you're taking throughout the semester are instructed in English. They're in, a lot of different humanities, liberal arts based courses. So you're going to get history, literature, philosophy, a little bit of science, a little bit of Israel studies, Middle Eastern studies. There's a lot available there. And like I said, in the beginning, you do 4 weeks of Hebrew. It's a 6-credit course where you're learning at your level. Students can come as a complete beginner and not know a word of Hebrew. You're still going to find a section of the course suitable for you. You're going to learn a little bit about the language of the culture around you. And we find it's a really good way for students to kick off their time abroad with us, just getting a little bit of a sense of the language that you can use as you move throughout the city. But of course, Israelis will be happy to practice their English with you. You don't have to necessarily worry about that. But like I said, there are a lot of courses available, but we do offer one specialized semester option. If you are interested in entrepreneurship and business, we offer a program during the semester where instead of taking 4 courses from our liberal arts-based curriculum, you'll take 3 required courses in finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, this area, and then you can select one more course from like an elective from our general course offerings. So these students, entrepreneurship students, also are required to participate in that mandatory Ulpan. And so, that's another case for the Ulpan, is that it is a good place to meet students that may not be in every class you'll be taking throughout the semester. A good way to even socially kind of get going on campus. And while you're on campus, from the very first day that you arrive until you leave, you have a layer of support within the university that not every one of the Israeli students has available to them. Our student life team, the Madrichim, are a really great resource for international students in any of our programs. They're there to provide support to you, to provide assistance in, transportation, housing. If you have questions about campus or, which cafe to go to, what the best libraries on campus are, but also if you need, knock on wood, to use your health insurance for any reason, they're there to assist you and help you navigate life in Tel Aviv when and where they can. They're also, like I said, they're the ones who greet you when you arrive on campus. They're going to be running all of the orientation activities. They plan and execute excursions throughout Israel each semester. We do, when we can, a couple of overnight trips. During a typical semester, they do beach visits and pizza parties and graffiti tours. It's just things to get our international students engaging with the campus and the city around them and the country where and when we can. So they are, like I said, a really great resource for you and something to really keep in mind. When it comes to things like health and safety, I'm sure, like Jennifer said, you guys are going to have a lot of questions about what this type of program looks like during a pandemic, during a public health crisis. And she'll be able to really help shed some light on that for you. We've been very lucky to have a team that's managed to understand the changing guidelines coming out over the last couple of years and really help students navigate that process as well. It's important to know that health insurance is included in the tuition that you pay for a semester abroad. So you will be covered by health insurance while you're on campus with us. But if you have any extenuating circumstances, we always recommend to talk to your existing health insurance company in your home country, inquire about travel policies, anything like that. But of course, again, our team is there to help answer questions for you as you consider your options. It is also important to note that I mentioned earlier, housing is not guaranteed at this point for the spring 2022 semester programs. At this point, housing will be offered on a first come, first served basis if anything is available, but it can't be guaranteed. We do have a list of websites and places that students can look for independent housing on our website, and our team is here to help you if that is something you have questions about. But yeah, I think that about covers what I'm going to say for health and safety. I will let Jennifer, like I said, kind of go into a little more of the things you have questions about. But before I move into the Q&A, I'm just going to throw my email address up here. If you have questions after the webinar is over that maybe don't get answered today, you can feel free to reach out to me directly at that email address. I'll also put this in the chat. And we will be following up with everybody who registered for today's webinar with some information and important links. So feel free to look for that in your email after today's event. So like I said, I'll put my info into the chat function, but I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment, and so I can monitor the chat. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put that into the chat box now. I think what I'll do, Jen, if you don't mind, is I'll start by maybe asking you if you can just tell us a little bit briefly about what you're expecting for spring 2022 as far as COVID restrictions, travel restrictions, life on the ground in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. I wanted to give an overview for you guys. First of all, it's been really amazing to see the students back on campus. It's been a long time since the students have been actually physically on campus with us instead of on Zoom. So the entire team is really psyched to see the students in spring semester. Now, as Jenna mentioned, we have a couple thousand international students on campus. So study abroad or exchange students are just a part of the international students. We also have students in undergraduate degrees and graduate degrees doing research, PhD, postdocs, and so on. So we have a wide variety of students on campus. Now, obviously, in terms of COVID restrictions, this has been really difficult. The Ministry of Health is constantly changing regulations with regards to who can even arrive in Israel, with regards to whether students can be on campus, what it looks like when students are in the classroom, et cetera, et cetera. So as a brief overview, they're very careful with regards to the number of people. I think that the situation in Israel as it is now is that we are past the 6 months from our second shot of the corona vaccine. So everybody in Israel has been asked that if they are past the 6 months to do the booster. Essentially, by doing the booster, you are now considered vaccinated again. So most of our students that have arrived already for fall semester, if they are within the 6 months, so they are considered vaccinated students and therefore would receive the green pass. If they are past the 6 months, then they would either be asked to do a PCR test to enter campus, or they would be asked to do the booster. And the student life team, like Jenna mentioned, is available to the students to answer all their questions about that. We also have an arrivals team that prior to your arrival will constantly, once you confirm, they'll constantly be sending you updates as to what the Ministry of Health requires. I mean, over the last 3 months, it's changed constantly. So they do ask that students be vaccinated, but like I said, if you are within your 6 months, you are considered vaccinated. Now, in terms of arriving on campus, because we want to make sure that the campus stays safe and healthy for all of our students, so they asked the students to show the green pass. There was a system malfunction in the Ministry of Health, welcome to Israel, and therefore the green pass for our students who are coming from abroad was not available. So we stepped in and worked with the university to provide the students a temporary green pass that will at least allow them on campus to be able to attend their classes. We do ask that students wear masks inside the classroom. The teachers, as long as they're standing 2 meters from the students, are allowed to remove their masks unless somebody feels really uncomfortable about that. So that's in general the situation there. In terms of life in Israel, I want to say that the exciting thing is that nobody ever kind of gave up the happiness for life. The cafes are all open, the restaurants are all open. Yes, they do ask to see your green pass because, again, health and safety is very important, but everything is open. The campus life is bustling. The life in Tel Aviv is bustling. Like Jenna mentioned, the student life team is constantly thinking of ideas and things to do for our students. Now, we originally thought about doing a really big party at the start of the year for all of our students. But we have, hundreds of students, even 1,000 at this point. And unfortunately, it's not for COVID restrictions. So We are thinking of organizing a couple of activities. They did a Yafo tour last week. Yafo is a city that's a lot of Arabs and a lot of Christians. So we did a Yafo tour last week for all of our students. They are planning on doing a Jerusalem tour very soon. They are planning on an overnight trip. They want to do two kinds this time. One where you kind of stay in a hotel and feel a little bit the luxury of traveling. And then the other one, they kind of want to do some camping, glamping type situation. So those are very cool things that they're organizing. Now we are preparing just for study abroad, just for the undergraduate students. So study abroad exchange and the undergraduate degrees, a surfing class. One Sunday morning at the beach. You guys don't, our study abroad students don't take classes on Sundays. So they're doing it on Sunday on purpose. Sunday morning surfing class. We are organizing Krav Maga, which I don't know if you guys know, but it's self-defense, Israeli self-defense. So these are all kinds of cool things. I mean, really like campus life is just, it's back, and it's really exciting, and we want students to come to campus and we want them to really enjoy the life here. Obviously, again, as I mentioned, health and safety is most important. So if you are in contact with the US office, with Shayna's office, with Jenna's office, you know, and you have any questions whatsoever about Corona and how things are being handled and the green pass and traveling and visas and all that, please feel free to reach out to them, and they know to contact us and to ask us the difficult questions. As for housing, unfortunately, we do have a lot of students that are coming this year that we are very happy to have. And so our housing is quite full. We are looking into other options, and this is the reason why we say it's not guaranteed. But I would recommend that you apply. The earlier you apply, the better of a chance to receive housing on campus. But there are some off-campus options that we can help the students with. I hope that was a good general overview. Jenna, is there anything else that you think I should mention or touch base on?
Well, I'm sure we'll get into it. We do have a couple of questions. So somebody was asking about the green pass. If you were vaccinated with something other than Pfizer and you've only had 2 doses, can you get a third booster in Israel to qualify for a green pass? Is that how that's working right now? Do you have any sense of?
Yes, let me check because I feel like I received this answer right here. So if it's Moderna or Pfizer, the student can schedule a third dose by contacting their insurance. But if it's another type of vaccine, you would need to consult your doctor at the HMO.
Gotcha.
And then be able to schedule, discuss with the doctor whether or not you can schedule the booster.
Okay, so
again, it has to be past the 6 months. Okay, we really recommend. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And you know, as both of us have mentioned for all of you, if this becomes something that a bridge you have to cross, you just keep in touch with our team as closely as you can, and we'll make sure that you're aware of whatever regulations you need to be aware of at that moment, because like as we said, it has been a moving puzzle of sorts.
Absolutely.
So we do have another question about housing. If we know how to find alternative housing off campus, and if students have to coordinate housing with the university.
With
so
our university or with their back home university?
Nina asked this question, so you can clarify if I'm getting this wrong, but my understanding is, you know, if somebody is to say arrange their own housing off campus, do we have to let you know where that will be, where we're living?
I think it's really important for us just to be aware of where our students are. Okay, I see that she wrote like with families. So if you were, it's really important. I mean, primarily the arrivals team would like to know, just so they're aware of where all the students are. Again, guys, you know, this is a question of health and safety. You're coming from abroad, you're coming to a country, maybe you've been here before, maybe you haven't. And it's really important for us to be able to say that we are providing you with the best service, and we know where you are at all times, and we want to make sure that you're safe wherever it is you are. So if you are in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem or wherever in the surrounding area with your family, that's totally fine. Just let us know so we're aware that this is where your housing is. Yeah,
definitely. I don't know if you can see, but Nina asked if a lack of housing would prevent us from being able to come. So Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, we have a lot of students who apply for the study abroad and get accepted and confirm, and they don't have housing and they come anyway and they find alternative housing. Like I said, we really do try to accommodate everybody. So once we see the confirmed students, we are going to check at options that we can offer you ourselves. But if we cannot offer you specific options that are through Tel Aviv University, we do have a pre-departure handbook that does offer some options on there that you can check at, and the student life team will be able to try and assist you with that. But if you're staying with family, that's also perfect. Great.
Thanks, Jennifer. And then someone asked if they have already completed the Ulpan in a previous time, is it still compulsory to do again as a part of the study abroad program?
That's actually a really great question. I would need a little bit more information. When you did the summer 2019 Ulpan, did it follow a study abroad program, or were you just here, or a gap program, or were you just here for an Ulpan?
Yeah, it was actually just for the month. So I did 1 month Ulpan in summer 2019 as like the beginning of the OSAP program, but I only did that month.
Okay. So more than likely we would ask you, because the beginning of every study abroad program does start with the Ulpan. So we would ask you to do the Ulpan again. You could always submit an appeal and say that you've already done it and provide us with your grades, and we can double check that and see if we could exempt you from it. But usually I don't recommend the students to exempt themselves, because all of the study abroad students come together. Sometimes even as a group flight, right, Jenna? And so if that's the case, they're all coming together 4 weeks before the semester starts. You guys have an orientation together that's just relevant for the study abroad students. And then after that, you start the intensive 4-week, you have 10 days off, and then you start your semester. So it's a great opportunity to meet other students, other study abroad students who are going to be with you. So usually I tell the students that it's probably best if they're here to feel more comfortable and get to know the other students. But absolutely, if you feel like it's not relevant and you feel like your Hebrew is good enough and you don't feel like you need this experience, you could always appeal this, and we would take a look at it.
Clear, thanks.
Sure.
And Nina had one more question about, and I think I can answer this if you don't mind, are about program options, specialized semester options like the entrepreneurship program for pre-med students. And Nina, what I'll say is that in a typical year, yes, we do. We have a program called the Voyage to Medicine. We haven't been running that program during the public health crisis, obviously, because it's difficult to get students on the ground in a healthcare setting during a pandemic. And we want to make sure that our students are going into a safe situation and are not putting the health and safety of the public at risk either. So at this point, it is not planned to be offered in the spring of 2022. It typically has been a fall semester program, but my understanding is that it may be offered again next in spring 2023.
That's right.
So unfortunately not this year, but in a year or two, I'm not sure at what point in your college journey you are right now, but if you're still in school in 2023, that may be an option for you.
Yes, that's for sure the plan.
In the fall, next fall.
The plan is that we will offer it in the spring of 2023.
And is that
We
your
will no
only
longer offer it in the
program
fall.
for pre-med students?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Is that the only program for pre-med students?
At this time.
Okay, thank you.
And
You're
it's, by
welcome.
the way, a really excellent program. It says that you heard about it, but we are kind of revamping the program to give the opportunity for students to not just take a class on campus, but opportunity to take a class also in the Safa Rofe, which is the hospital, and then work directly with the doctors. So it's really cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm out of college by then, so I don't think I'd be eligible, but thank you.
Yeah, Nina, the one other thing that I will say is we do offer in the summer, during the Summer Institute, we offer a research program in the sciences. So if you wanted to try and come during a summer, I know that we did run that program this last summer, 2021, right, Jen? The research in the sciences program did run on campus. Students joined labs.
Offer internship programs during the semester, because I think I'm taking a gap semester anyway, so I don't technically need school credits. Do you offer like internship or research during the semesters?
We typically don't. We used to pre-pandemic, we started offering internships during the semester, and now as we're bringing sort of our programs back, so we will not offer the internship during the semester. The program that Jenna was referring to is the summer research, and actually if you're pre-med, this might be very cool for you. The academic head of our program is the associate dean of the Faculty of Medicine, if I'm not mistaken. So she is really familiar with the labs that are going on there. And she typically interviews the students and tries to find them placement, depending on their CV. So I don't know, you said gap year, are you going to be a freshman?
My university, I already talked to them and they said that if I went abroad to they're currently not partnering with Tel Aviv University. So I was going to take a gap semester from a university anyways, like take a semester off and just like independently enroll with Tel Aviv University for a semester. But I was saying I'm not transferring any course credits, so I don't technically need to go to like college for the semester. Like I just didn't know if you guys had any research or internship programs for the semester.
Generally not during the actual semester. The internships, Jen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, take place at this point. We're running them during the summer institute, like during that summer term.
We do have the option, and this is an interesting option that maybe could work, is the option of a visiting student. I'm not completely familiar with the process and what you need. I believe you need to be affiliated to a university, which you are. You're just taking a break in order to come here. And it's an opportunity to work with a researcher. But I believe that for that, you would need to be invited by a specific researcher. So I don't know if you had somebody specifically in mind if you wanted to come and just do research. So that could be an option, is as a visiting student. I would look into that and see what professors you would be interested in. If it's the Faculty of Medicine, what professors, and try to contact them and see if they would be interested in having you. Obviously, the longer you've been at university, the more relevant.
I'll be a senior when I'm coming abroad.
Okay, so that's perfect. I think that that's going to be much more relevant for them as somebody who has a lot of expertise and a lot of preliminary courses in the field. That being said, that could possibly be an option for you for spring semester. So I would look into that. And if you are having trouble or you're stuck, be in touch with Jenna and she'll forward it to me and I'll try to find some details for you. And then if that doesn't work out and you're saying you want to do a semester, you can always come and do a spring semester program. And then we can either try to see if there is a professor that's willing to take you on, or you can try to tack on at the end of your semester. Our semester ends in mid-May. So you can try to tack on in mid-May the summer research, and then it goes all through August. And then you get an opportunity to work with a professor in the summer rather than this semester.
Thank you guys so much.
Sure.
Thanks, Nina. Okay, and I think that is also for everybody else kind of a really great object lesson in how, especially post 2020, we are really looking to make sure that programs you're going to sign up for are a good match for you and vice versa. And we are developing our programs in a way that we can help you find something that's really relevant. So even if you think that maybe you're not a program is not exactly perfect what you're looking for, talk to us, ask the questions, and we can do our best to advise you and help you find something that's really relevant. Okay, and Jennifer, I think just to get back a little bit to health and safety on campus and in Israel, I know that recently the quarantine requirements for travelers coming into Israel have shifted a little bit. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. In the past, the quarantine was 7 to 10 days, depending on what country you were coming from. Now they've removed the red and green countries. And so they are just asking, first of all, everybody has to be vaccinated when they enter. So that's being checked by our arrivals team. Usually there is a form that you have to fill out and attach all your documentation, and they'll double check it and contact you if there's an issue. But essentially we ask our students to come, and the quarantine is 24 hours. They do the PCR test, they wait for the results, and then they're able to get out of quarantine. Now, again, this is, and I state this very, very, very honestly, the regulations from the Ministry of Health can change on a weekly basis. To give you a perfect example, I flew to the States to see my family in August. In August, I was considered a vaccinated individual who did not have to quarantine upon return. During my 2-week trip, they changed the regulations and said that any a person from Israel who was past the 6 months of their second vaccination was now considered unvaccinated and either had to get the booster or quarantine when they return. And essentially, because I was abroad and my 6 months expired while I was abroad, when I came back, I had to quarantine, and then I was able to get my booster. So things change on the go constantly. The most important thing is that we really stress that we do try to keep you guys as updated as possible on anything that you might need. And then if you really feel like something is unclear, be in touch with us. And the goal of our team is just to make things really clear for you guys, because this is a very weird time. But yes, for right now, the quarantine is 24 hours.
Okay, great. Well, unless there are any more last minute questions from the folks we still have left, I think we'll wrap it up here. Like I said, I put my email address in the chat. If you have questions that weren't answered, or if questions arise later, as they are wont to do, please feel free to reach out to myself. I can connect you to anybody on campus that you need to speak with if necessary. Our team here in the US, very capable of helping you and advising you about the application process and the program options. So I just want to again thank Jennifer for taking time out of your evening in Israel to talk to us and answer some of these tough questions. And we hope we'll see all of you on campus at some point. So thanks everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thanks so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye. Okay, they have left. I'm going to stop the recording.